Hey everyone, your boy Al is here today with something special. I have with me today, my very good friend Gen HQ. He is a great One Piece content creator and I believe many of you already know him for his content. We are doing a collab because I wanted to do something special for you guys as this is my 100th video. We will be power scaling all the notable characters from One Piece God Valley Incident, and since we both use different methods for our videos, we will be presenting our lists separately. By the way, the video and thumbnail were edited by Gen HQ, so a big shout out to my bro. So the ranking system we will be using is as follows. Pirate King tier, Yonko tier, Admiral tier, Strongest Commander tier, Yonko Commander 1 tier, Yonko Commander 2 tier and Veteran tier. With the Pirate King tier representing the best of the best in the verse and Veteran tier representing mid-tier fighters. So with all that being said, let's get started. First up we have the world's strongest man himself, Whitebeard. Most of you might think that I will put him in the Pirate King tier since he is said to be Roger's equal. However, I'm very hesitant to even put him in the Yonko tier because in God Valley he wasn't in his prime, and so I'm gonna put him in the low Yonko tier. Next up is Dark King Rayleigh. Unlike Whitebeard, I do believe Rayleigh was in his absolute peak during that time, so he is gonna go in the mid Yonko tier even though I can see him being slightly higher. Next is Wang Ji. We don't know much about him except that he was a member of the Rocks Pirates and that he ruled over Hakanoso Island before Blackbeard took over. So I'm gonna play it safe and put him in the high Yonko Commander 1 tier. Then we have Bogard, the right-hand man of Garp. I assume Bogard was at his absolute best because Garp shone the most in the God Valley Incident, so I would assume the same can be said for his right-hand man. Hence I'm putting Bogard in the mid-strongest commander tier. Up next is Shiki. I don't think he was in his prime during that time. However, since we are talking about someone who later on became one of Roger's rivals, I'm gonna put him in the high admiral tier. Then we have Gabon, the third strongest of the Roger Pirates. We don't really know much about him, so it's kinda hard to rank him, but I'm gonna give him the benefit of doubt and place him at low admiral tier. Next we got one of the 5 Gorosei, none other than Saturn. Recently we got to see a glimpse of his powers, so it's easy to assume he is above Admiral tier at the very least. So I'm gonna highball this and put him in the high Yonko tier, but I can also see him being slightly weaker. The world's strongest creature Kaido is next. Now the thing is that during the God Valley Incident Kaido was very young and nowhere near his prime. He didn't even have his devil fruit back then, so it's fair to say that he was a lot weaker than the Kaido we know of. However, Kaido still had his durability and endurance, so I'm gonna place him at high admiral tier. Next is Stussy. Well, I never really thought about her strength for some reason, so I don't have much to say here. I'm gonna put her in mid Yonko Commander 2 tier given the fact she was a member of Rocks Pirates and her clone is a CP0 agent. Now we have Captain John. While I never viewed him as someone very strong, and during the God Valley Incident he wasn't in his prime either, so I'm just gonna put him in the high strongest commander tier. Then we have the leader of the Holy Knights, none other than Saint Garling. We don't really know much about his powers, but he is the leader of the Holy Knights, which is considered to be the world government's strongest fighting force, and even Dragon sees him as a big threat. Also, he is the biological father of Shanks, and we all know how strong Shanks is. So I'm gonna play big here and put him in the low Pirate King tier. Although he might turn out to be a lot weaker than that, but I hope that won't happen. Up next is Silver Axe. We know almost nothing about him except that he was a member of Rocks Pirates. So I will just place him at the high veteran tier. Then we have the strongest known woman in the world of One Piece, none other than Big Mom. During that time Big Mom was nearing her prime and could hold her own against the likes of Saturn and Roger. So it's safe to say that she was very strong, hence I will put in the low Yonko tier. Incoming is the hero of the Marines, Monkey D. Garp. The God Valley Incident was the time where he shone the most and earned the title, the hero of Marines. So it wouldn't be wrong to say that he was at his absolute best, and so I will straight up put him in the mid Pirate King tier. Next up is the one and only Pirate King so far, Gold Roger. Well, I don't think I need to say anything about his strength. However, he grew even stronger after the incident, so just for that reason I'm gonna put him in the mid Pirate King tier. Last but certainly not the least, we have Roxy Xebec, the unofficial pirate king who ruled over the seas before Roger's era. The simple fact that Garp and Roger had to team up in order to defeat Xebec just goes to show how strong he was, and so I'm gonna put him in the high pirate king tier without any hesitation. Well, these are my rankings for now. I expect some roasting coming my way. Also, our channel and social media links will be in the description, so be sure to check them out. With all that being said, I'm now passing the ball to my buddy Worst Gen HQ.
Hello dear One Piece community, Worst Gen HQ here. Today I present to you my power ranking for God Valley, and as you already know, Al-Sama from Worst Gen Forum will be there and will also present his list, which he did at the beginning. I'll mention a few more details before I start my ranking. I used automatic voice recording for this video. I will present the next videos personally in German voice and add an English translation so that my fans can follow my content in English like Yuteron did in his channel. Now about our ranking, I will later upload a detailed video about God Valley ranking to my channel and also justify my ranking. Let's get started then. I estimate Stussy to be around veteran level, meaning at the same level as people like Altai/Daifuku. The same goes for Gloriosa. I rate her at the same level as Stussy and see both as rivals. Also veteran level. Now we come to Silver Axe, Wang Ji and Captain John. I guess that these three represent the original three top commanders of today's Yonkou, which means that I rate them in roughly the same tier system as Cracker, Smoothie and Katakuri, and thus equate them with today's one's top commanders from Yonkou crews. Since Silver Axe is less important than Wang Ji and Captain John, I think Silver Axe is Yonkou Commander 3 level. Wang Ji, who got more importance in manga, fighting Blackbeard, was probably Yonkou Commander 2 level at that time. And I rate Captain John at Yonkou Commander 1 level, which means he is on a par with people like King and Katakuri. Next in the ranking I have Kaido. Since he is significantly weaker than the current Kaido, I rate him at about the strongest Yonkou Commander tier, low top tiers, and therefore a bit above people like King and Katakuri, which means he was strong but just wasn't at his prime level. The same applies to Lin Lin. Even if she was relatively young, 29, she was close to her prime level. I would stuff her to Admiral level tier, which means mid-top tier. Shiki is now asked how old he was. If he is the same age as Roger/Rayleigh, I would rate him at Yonkou level, equal to old Lin Lin, Kaido, and Shanks. Whitebeard was probably already a beast back then but still not in his prime. According to information, Whitebeard reached his prime at 38, in God Valley he was 36, still Yonkou level, in his prime Pirate King level. And finally Xebec, he was probably Pirate King level and therefore above Yonkou level characters. About the world government. I would rate Garling between low mid-top tier at the time, called Admiral level. Saturn next, that's really tough. Feeling says he's Pirate King level, but I can also see him being Yonkou level. Navy. Bogart is Garp's right-hand man. I think he was one of the strongest Navy at the time despite not having the title of Vice Admiral. I think he should be rated between Yonkou Commander level 1 and strongest Commander level. Garp back then in his prime, I think clearly that he was Pirate King level and therefore above Yonkou level. Roger Pirates. I would rate Gabon as the third strongest of Roger's crew and equivalent to Sanji at Admiral level. Would suit him well as the third strongest Roger pirate. Rayleigh, in his prime, I would easily rate him at Yonkou level. There are enough statements that show that Rayleigh was hyped with old legends like Whitebeard, so it's safe to assume he was Yonkou level. Roger, loud and clear, Pirate King level. So it is also clearly to be valued above Yonkou level. This is my top ranking for God Valley. I had fun evaluating the characters and will later post a detailed video in German on my channel. Follow and support my friend Al-Sama, he makes good content. See you soon and goodbye.